with ARIAN.
Boys.
ARIAN,
Big up,
come
ARIAN.
on, my guy, come on.
Oh my god. Bro, I don't think, look, when I was watching that game, just starting with, because of everything that was going on, I was literally dizzy before everything happened. My blood pressure was so fucking high off that referee. I swear to God, I was nearly I was nearly about to pass. I'm not even kidding. I was genuinely dizzy. But what an end to that. After Kulusevski scored, I literally jumped into my dad's hands. Okay? And after about a couple minutes, I got off of the Ange Postecoglou cardboard cutout, and then I went to my actual dad. But you know what I'm saying? Genuinely.
Brilliant.
Jokes aside, I actually did jump into my dad's arms, and I've never look. I think genuinely after the first 4 or 5 games now, he's fully Tottenham. He did not used to watch like soccer or nothing like that, football. Sorry, he didn't watch anything until not only I became a Spurs fan, until Ange. He despised all the other nonsense that we've been playing, and it's been unbelievable. This game today, and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
ARIAN, in terms of looking things like from an objective view, before we get into the madness that happened in the end, like, do you feel like in terms of the overall performance, maybe we might need 24 hours to digest what actually happened on the pitch after that craziness? But did you feel like 1-0 down going into stoppage time? It was a frustrating day for Spurs. Like that maybe we could have done more, or did you feel like we were unlucky to be in that position?
It was frustrating because we were unlucky. It was everything that could have gone against us went against us in terms of the decisions, in terms of bounces, in terms of 1v1s. Everything that kind of could have gone the wrong way did. And, you know, it's a shame that we don't have the winning mentality to push on in these games because, you know, it's not a disaster when you lose at Spurs. It's really not. Unfortunately, you know, we kind of just took it on the chin and moved on. You know, we're not like Bayern Munich. We can't, you know. If it's a draw, if it's a loss, but we'll just take it. No, but seriously, you know, the fact that we pushed on that way, despite everything going against us, shows exactly what kind of culture is at the club right now with what Ange has done, and it's sublime. It's fantastic. Yeah, I think the performance was honestly good. What was it? 19 shots, about 63 minutes wasted from the goalkeeper, and still we managed to find this time and space to get 2 goals, and that's all you can call for. Like 28 shots or whatever. I think the goalkeeper was probably, if it wasn't for Robinson making about 17 blocks, the goalkeeper would have probably had the Premier League record for saves. That's how much we were living in their box.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of, you mentioned the referee there, 13 yellow cards he pulled out today. Also, a lot of people saying Tottenham probably should have had a penalty. I think it was in the first half as well for a poor challenge on Maddison. What was wrong with him today? Because it was really strange. He was extremely card happy. Yes, maybe the game was a bit feisty, but I didn't feel like it was. It wasn't like maybe comparative to, you know, that Argentina-Holland game or the Battle of the Bridge. It wasn't that kind of game. Yeah, it seemed like every challenge he was just pulling out the card.
It was strange because I think he forgot he had his red card in his pocket, but he had the yellow just on deck every time anything happened. You know, on another day, we could have had 2-3 penalties genuinely, and they could have had like a couple players sent off because I don't understand how the goalkeeper was on the pitch. I don't understand how Basham was on the pitch. And McBurney, I think ironically, he had the harshest of decisions to go against him with that red card because it was dissent, but also, what was it, 2 decisions in 1? Was he already on the yellow? I'm not sure. But yeah, just everything the ref could have done wrong. And that first half, 3 minutes of that at a time. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I think the goalkeeper was drinking water for 5 minutes alone. So I just.
And then
don't
you had
understand.
that really weird moment as well in the second half where the ball gets thrown on the pitch from a Spurs corner, and he gives Tottenham a drop ball, and then it happens again from the next corner, and he gave Brighton the drop ball. Yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. It does. I don't even know what I don't know if he got a good night's sleep or whatever it was, because he was on something. Just one of the worst, and not even in terms of bias, because some like referee performance you see and you're just like, they want us to lose or something like that, and it wasn't that. It was just so incompetent in every single way, right? It wasn't like like I felt cheated, but that's not why I was upset. It wasn't like kind of the Brighton game versus us last season where Brighton fans just felt cheated, and I understood that because they just everything. It felt horrible. They felt like that. It was that. It was just incompetent. Everything we did was wrong in every way. It was confusing.
Yeah, 100%.
No, you're right. I mean, let's talk about some players, Ariane. I mean, there's obviously when we get to the madness, as Simeon said at the end. Who stood out for you before the madness?
Before the madness,
Before the madness, the madness is a whole different category.
Yeah, the madness is a whole different category. I think before the madness, for me, I think Madison looked sharp again, like he always does. I think it's a bit difficult to pick someone out because I think everybody kind of had these half and half games. Like Poro was getting in decent positions, but then his decision making was completely off today. I think Udogi, great, like decent performance again, not quite as dominant as other ones. I think Van de Ven looked quite good today, and Romero, I think they looked very sharp and were defending very well. Like even the goal was completely not their fault. Vicario, sensational. A couple goals he saved were amazing. I think Solomon, I think, was probably the best of the front three today, and before the subs, I think he was genuinely. He looked sharp. I think he could have gotten a goal or two on another day, or an assist or two on another day. I think he just looked on it today. Yeah, I think that's it. I think Kulusevski had like a bit of a hot and cold game. Son definitely not quite his kind of game. Not enough space in behind like there was against Burnley. I think Basuma and Sarr again looked decent, but not quite up to their the ceiling like we know they can be. They were just like okay, but I think the players that were like standouts for me were the center backs and probably Solomon and Madison and Vicario.
And so talk to me about the Richarlison cameo, because it was such a big game for him, and it was kind of poetic how things played out with everything that happened in midweek with him and over the international break. Coming onto the pitch, at 1-0 down. And it wasn't just the goals. I thought in general he was just making such a nuisance of himself. He was getting involved in it. Let me know your thoughts on how Richarlison did in your opinion.
It was a flawless sub performance. It was flawless. It was a 10 out of 10 for me. I think he did everything. He was exactly what Ange did. Exactly what Ange brought him on for. He did it to a perfection. You could have if you wrote a script of what Richarlison needs to do, that's what he did. If beforehand, that's exactly what he did. The second he came on, just the thing about Richarlison is he. Doesn't matter if he can't get the ball. Doesn't matter if he knows he can't get the ball. He will fight for that ball as if it is about 4 inches in front of him. He's going to kill you for that ball, even if it's 6 meters into the sky and he knows he has no chance. He will fight you like it's right in front of him, and you're the only thing in his way. It's exactly what you need against that kind of tussle against tired Sheffield United legs who can't really deal with that kind of energy. Because Richarlison, not only can he do that in 90 minutes, when you give him that fresh legs Richarlison that will just. It's like a tick. Doesn't get off at all. Just an absolute nuisance, a pest. That's exactly what he needed, and it ended up being perfect because he tired out those Sheffield United defenders. We saw it; they were gassed. They were gassed 90 minutes in, but they were gassed after Richarlison took some out of them, and he ends up taking the wind out of them with that equalizer, and then Kulusevski finishes it from his very nice layoff. A 10 out of 10 performance for me. 11.
Arian, let me just ask you a question. With this as well, do you see, I was talking to Simeon about it, I think these kind of games, like a Sheffield United, like a low block team, this is more designed to get the best out of Richarlison, isn't it? Rather than a Son who needs to play against Burnley or teams that play open football. These kind of games are made for Richarlison, aren't they?
100%, because if you look at what Richarlison has done throughout his career, that's been the best. Where Richarlison has looked the best in the World Cup, it wasn't against teams like I mean, the World Cup is also generally national team football is a bit more like conservative. It's a bit more pragmatic. You don't see that kind of open play generally that often. That's why that's why some players do better because it's a completely different kind of. It really is a different game, and you see at Everton. Every time Richarlison is, getting his results, 13 goals, 15 goals, Everton plays scrap football. He has to fight for it, and that's what you do when you're playing in a low block. You're fighting. It's a tussle. It's a physical battle. That's when Richarlison's always looked his best, and that's exactly what he did today. It's the exact role we bought him from, and it's where he shines. So for sure, when you're playing against like in ironically against an Everton or against a Sheffield United or against a Luton Town or against something like that, where you're going to need some physical fight. There is no better player. Richarlison is second to none in that kind of environment, and that's where he shines. So for sure, I want him. And I think the good thing about our team is we have like this, like we have like these two front threes. We have like Perisic, Richarlison, Kulusevski, who are a little bit more suited to that, and then we have like these techie, pacey front three in Solomon, Brennan, and Son. And I think that really is going to suit us when it comes to our tactical flexibility.
Yeah, talking about Brennan, we got a first look at him today. Only a
Oh.
short cameo, but what did you make of his cameo?
Amazing. I was very impressed, and you could see kind of what it was that Ange wanted, and he was dynamite. Again, that pace, it helped. It helped in gassing the defenders. Because Johnson, no, not Johnson, Robinson. Sorry, Robinson was on it all day for Sheffield United. I mean, he was without a doubt their man of the match. I think he prevented about 4 or 5 goals on his own. Just some insane blocks, but he could not keep up with Brennan, and that's what tired him out in the end. And that's him getting like tired is basically the reason that we had the space in the end, or not the space, the ability in the end to take it, because it's what afforded us that extra half second. Because he was there, he was Mr. Everywhere today in that back line, and when Brennan kept them busy, it opened up the gaps for us, and I think that was crucial. Brennan was amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree with that. I thought it was a really nice cameo from him. But like a 1-0 down, the goal we conceded, just talking about the negative, it was a bit of a terrible goal, wasn't it? Long throw, could have been dealt with a lot better. And at that point, you're thinking, do we only have ourselves to blame, like going 1-0 down?
I don't think. I mean, like, I think, do we have only ourselves to blame? Going 1-0 down is a bit of a. Yeah, do we have ourselves to blame for that singular goal? I think we do. I mean, it was a good finish, and it was, those long throws are like deceptively dangerous, to be fair. But I think most of all, ironically, was Kulusevski who was at fault for that. I think he kind of just was ball watching a little bit and was just behind it. But also not, no disrespect to Sheffield, we got to give him some credit. That was a very, that was straight from the training pitch from them. You could see exactly how they kind of imagined that game would go up until the 100th minute. That's exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for low block, frustrate us, get on our nerves, time waste, frustrate the crowd, quieten the crowd, and get that goal. And it was working like a charm until they got tired. And yeah, I think Kulusevski should have probably dealt with it, because it was his man. He lost. But yeah, we're working on it. Like I said, it's probably set pieces are probably the stuff we're working on the least right now. I'm assuming, just because I feel like all the other areas of our game have improved so much, and defensively on set pieces we look okay, but I think that's more because of Van de Ven's presence more than anything. I don't think tactically we look any more aware than we did before, and I'm sure we're going to get to that. But I think the improvements we're making in other areas is a fair trade-off, so I'm happy with it, and in the end it ended up being enough. So I'm not complaining too much, but I think, there's stuff we can work on. I think set pieces have been, once again, probably a weakness this season. I think we've conceded 2 or 3 now from them, if I'm not wrong. But I'm sure we're looking into it. I'm sure Ange is thinking of stuff. I'm sure he's on top of it. I'm not worried.
And look, that win now, 4 on the trot, and we go into the North London derby next week in great form. Like, is there a better way to go into the North London derby than the form that we're in?
No, but it's just that those away games, man. I don't want to get too negative, especially today, but those away games are going to be tricky. Hopefully we come out with something. And I think if we don't come out with anything, as far as performance and pride, I think this is going to be it's going to be one of the best games we're going to see at the Emirates in a while, for sure. But yeah, it's always going to be tough, because we'll see how Arsenal play tomorrow. They've also been a little bit off the pace. They have the Champions League to play in the midweek. They're going to be a little bit more tired than we are. There's some things that are definitely looking good for us. Some things that are going our way. So I'm not going to write us off. I'm never going to write off Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham and anything. But and we look like, I think, as far as what we could ask for going into that North London derby, we can't ask for much more. Without Harry Kane, with a lot of young players, and a new coach, and in just 100 days, there's just not much more you can ask. I mean, maybe that a win at the start of the season. Oh boy, just we look like a completely different Tottenham, and I think if we're ever going to take them at the Emirates, it's gonna be under this team. If not now, at some point later, but if it's gonna happen recently, I don't think our chances have ever been higher than now,
Agreed.
and they're only gonna get higher.
Oh, Arian, great to chat to you, my friend.
Yes.
Always good to speak to you, especially after a massive
Fantastic
win like
win.
today.
Fantastic
Always good to have
win.
you on.
Fantastic.
Big love to
Absolutely
you, my bro.
amazing.
See you later,
Big
buddy.
performance. Shout out to Richarlison. And as always, come on, you Spurs!
Come